confounders can be done at the time of study, at the time of analysis. What are the methods at the time of study? Randomization, method, matching restriction, at the analysis, stratification by mental Hansel ratio, correlation regression, and the standardization. Okay. So just to tell you, at the time of study, what restriction you are using in your thesis. So when you write in your protocol and in thesis, what were the inclusion and exclusion criteria? So the inclusion and exclusion criteria is basically your restriction method of decreasing the confounding factors effect. Okay. Then one more point to note here is that I have used the term randomization here, right? So this randomization is not similar as random sampling. Okay. Random sampling, when you are doing the sampling, what is random sampling? When you are selecting the sample, okay? Then you are selecting sample, okay? So there is a large population. Randomly, you are choosing your participants from that population. That is random sampling. So for selecting the sample is random sampling versus randomization. What is randomization? Once you have selected the sample, then you are randomizing the sample. Okay, so you have selected here the sample, random sampling. You have selected 100 participants, and now randomization of these 100 participants you are doing in test and control arm by various methods, right? Okay, so randomization is done after the selection of the sample. Okay. Now, okay, 1, 2. Let's talk a bit about randomization here. Okay, so have you got key randomization we are doing once we have the sample, and now we have to randomize out that sample in the test or control arm. The various methods can be fixed or adaptive. What is basically adaptive method? Key, okay, so you have a sample, you have started doing the research on that sample population. Now, adaptive is you are adapting your sample into control and test arm as per the need of study, right? Meaning you see, okay, this is your test arm. These are the people in test arm. These are the people in the control arm. And you see that in the test arm, okay, this test arm is now at this point of time having population who are more than 30 years of age, which was the confounding factor. So you shift few of the people from here to this here control arm. Okay, so you are adapting your sample as per the requirement of your study. And remember that in method of randomization, the adaptive method example is minimization. Right? Just remember this word that minimization is an adaptive type of randomization method. Okay. Minimization. Right? And what are the fixed randomization method? These can be, say, simple randomization, log randomization, and stratified randomization. right? Now, what is simple randomization, right? So after random sampling, you have 100 people. Simple randomization, how you are now from these 100 people, say simply you are randomizing the people into study or control arm. How? Say by flipping a coin or by choosing people randomly. Simple randomization, done. Okay. Block randomization. What is block randomization? So you have decided that you will be making 10 blocks. Okay, so you will be making 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 blocks of 20 individuals each, right? Now what you do? You pick up the people and start filling these blocks randomly. Okay, so you take first 20 people and you tell, okay, you go to this block, you go to that block, you go to block C, you go to block B, right? So first you are filling these blocks, okay, and then how you are randomizing them? Then you are randomizing these blocks, meaning suppose this is block A, B, C, D, E. So you say that block A will go to the test arm, block B to the control arm, block C to the control arm, block D to the test arm. Okay, so after making the blocks, you are randomizing them. Okay. Then third is your stratified randomization. So what is a stratified randomization? What is done in stratified randomization? In stratified randomization, you make strata. Strata. For example, strata based on a particular thing. For example, say based on religion, you are making strata. This is the strata for Hindu, Muslim, Christians, right? And in this particular strata, you make blocks, right? And now you fill these blocks. So Muslims will go into either block A of Muslim or B or C or D. Hindus will go into block H, I, J, K. Christians will go into the block M, N, O, P, Q, R. Right? So this way you make strata based on a thing, right? Based on a variable. Then you in that strata make blocks and then you divide these blocks. Meaning this H will go to control arm, test arm, this in control arm, test arm, test arm, test arm, these in control arm, right? So stratified randomization. After stratification, after making the strata, you are making block and then dividing the blocks. Right? So this regarding randomization, right? So confounding factors and methods of decreasing confounding factors based on if at the time of study or at time of analysis, mainly that at time of stratification by Mansell method. Okay, just okay, take a look here. Do not confuse that here we are doing the stratification for controlling the confounding at the time of analysis by a mental Hansel method, whereas here it is a stratified randomization, which I am trying to explain. Okay, so randomization. So what I mean to say is stratification at the time of your analysis to decrease the confounding factor by Mansell-Hansel equation is different as per stratified randomization. And when we are doing randomization once we have our sample with us, right? And this is the question: adaptive uh, randomization method minimization. There is one more method of randomization by the name of concealed allocation. Right? Concealed allocation, the name itself is clear that concealment is done while allocating the subjects to the test or the control arm, right? So basically, concealed allocation is done to decrease the selection bias, right? I hope you are clear regarding that bias can occur at the time of selection, at the time of analysis, at the time of observing, right? So to decrease the selection bias, concealed allocation is done. Name itself is clear how concealing by allocating to test or control in a concealed way so that the observer and interviewer and other people involved in the study do not know the results, right? So basically to decrease the selection bias, but remember that concealed allocation is different from concealed allocation is different from blinding. So you must be remembering something about blinding. Blinding, that single blinded study, double blinded study, or triple blinded study, right? So here in concealed allocation, we are aiming to decrease selection bias, whereas blinding is done. Okay, when we are doing the blinding, we have our sample by random sampling, say of 100 people. We have our sample. Now after randomization we have done and divided them into the test arm and control arm by various methods. Here, to decrease the selection bias, here we can do concealed allocation, right? Right. So randomization we have divided into test and control arm, and now we have our test and control with us. At this stage, we can do blinding, meaning blinding is done to decrease observer bias. What is blinding? That either the participant does not know if he is in the test arm or the control arm, called as single blinded trial. When participant and interviewer or the therapist both do not know, then it is called as double blinded. And when participant, interviewer, and the one who is supervising also does not know which participant is in test arm or control arm, then it is called as right. So this is randomization and blinding. Okay. I hope these things are clear. Okay. Just one more thing.